Welcome to Talking Halo. It's Derek Ciapola with my co-host, my partners in crime. It's opening week. Oh boy. And Nate Green and Jared Timms are here to bring you joy. Why joy? Someone got traded. Someone got traded. And social media blew up with joy. Who got traded? Nate? Jared? Who
I'll
got
let Nate.
traded? Say it one time. Who was it?
I'll let Nate take it. I'm gonna be honest there. This is Nate's guy.
Nate.
Uh,
Who got traded?
yeah, it's so sad to see Jose Suarez go, but he's Atlanta's problem now.
So with the way the Angels and Braves have been trading, it wouldn't surprise me if Suarez was back in an Angels uniform at some point. I'm just saying at some point. And also, I'm hearing that Nate's gonna start a Talking Braves podcast as well,
Oh
so we'll be
yes,
good.
yes. So the Braves can hear how bad Jose Suarez. It'll only take them like an outing for them to realize what they just acquired.
The funny thing about it, and we can just get right in talking about this. The funny thing about it is that Braves fans are pissed off. Like
What
they're
did
not there are some Braves fans that are not happy about this trade at all. And there are some that I saw that were like, "Oh yeah, like Ian Anderson's gone." Like, heck yeah. Kind of like Angels fans were, but I mean, it's kind of funny seeing the reactions that Braves fans are getting. Like, "Oh, the Braves have completely won this trade or whatnot." It's like, well, you guys don't know baseball very well if you're living under a rock or something.
We'll talk about that return, Jared. The exact trade for our listeners who don't know. Who's Ian Anderson?
Ian Anderson, yeah, was the third overall pick in 2016, I believe, the Matt Theis draft, for the Angels. Anderson was a high schooler, probably one of the best coming out in 2016. A very bad draft, by the way, in 2016. If you go look at it,
that early draft?
Mickey Moniak, yeah, well, bad early, yeah, bad first round. Mickey Moniak was number one overall pick. Angels also have a guy named Carter Kieboom, who was the 26th overall pick from that draft, and there's one more guy that I completely forgot, but yeah,
Anderson, Sean Anderson
Sean
was in
Anderson
that
was a third
draft.
rounder. Yeah.
Yeah.
But regardless, yeah, Ian Anderson, very much so a pitch to contact guy. He's going to be in the bullpen to start the season off for the Angels. Isn't going to overpower anybody. He's he's I'm still trying to, and when I figure it out, I'll allude to it what the Angels are doing. But very much so a pitch to contact guy, doesn't strike out very many guys, isn't gonna light up any radars or anything like that. But an innings eater, to be honest with you. Somebody that may get DFA'd at some point, may not. I don't know, but former top prospect for sure, which is always nice to see and things like that. Taking chances on him, doesn't have any more options left or anything like that. So hasn't pitched in the major league since 2022, I believe. So 2 years now. So we'll see what he does because he was having a decent spring. I know the injury bug's kind of bitten him a little bit as well. So there's that. But hey, could be a decent trade for both teams. I mean, there's a reason why Jose Suarez has been on the Angels for so long. I know he got DFA'd and nobody picked him up, but former top 100 prospect. If you can find a way to turn him right, he's a decent pitcher, and the Braves have done a decently good job of making nothing out of something. I mean, David Fletcher's now a pitcher and he looks pretty good. That was a joke, by the way. Come on, laugh a little bit. But yeah, I mean it'll be interesting on both sides to see what each side does. I'm excited about Ian Anderson. It's like I said, a big prospect name from the past. So I'm fine with it.
Nate. Here's your shot, man.
Anderson was a plus changeup guy too coming out. He was pretty good. His rookie year looked like he was going to be part of that Braves rotation, and that Braves rotation was going to be young and fun for a long time. And Soroka and him both got hurt, and then Strider comes up, and they make the trade for sale and things like that. So he definitely was a big part of what Atlanta thought they were going to be building in that starting rotation. The thing that sucks is he is out of options, so he hasn't pitched in the majors in 2 years. It almost feels like you got a Rule 5 pick that you kind of are hoping is good because the only thing is you don't have to return him if you send him down, but you do have to open him up to waivers. So that's going to be interesting to see if he makes the squad. past April or May. I don't know because if he's bad early, I don't see them like hanging on to him. I think this is like, hey, come out, see if you can be good, and then if you are great, if you're not, then we'll move on and we'll call up one of the young kids, whether it's we'll see who it is because Johnson could be in the rotation in Double A. Johnson could be in the big league bullpen. So we'll kind of see what's happening over these next couple of days with that. But excited that Suarez is gone. I think it helps. The Angels didn't need five lefties in the pen. We'll talk about that in a little bit with who is in that pen as of right now. But Suarez, it was time for him to go. He had served his purpose. There was just literally nothing more the Angels could get out of him, and I think a lot of people are excited that Jose Suarez is not on this team anymore.
I mean, let's call it what it is. I mean, it was just the Angels getting a body for him. They wanted him gone. Everybody wanted him gone, and they got a body for him. And to work out, they just DFA him as done. I mean, that's really what it is. And they got rid of him. They find a way. They found a way to be rid of him. That was it. So there you go. Other news. Other news. Angels signed Carl Edwards Jr. to a minor league deal. Any thoughts on that, real quick?
Yeah,
Jerry,
yeah,
starting with you.
yeah. It's an experienced bullpen piece. Was really good with Washington. The 2 years prior was really good with Washington
Three
the
years
two
ago,
years
yeah, three,
prior.
3 years ago.
In 2022 and 2023, I believe last year he didn't really pitch that much. I'm not sure if he was hurt or not. But last year didn't pitch very much. But somebody who hasn't had an ERA above, I think, 4, just twice in his career. That's a weird. I said it a weird way, but he's had an ERA above 4 twice in his career. He's not the guy he was with the Cubs by any means anymore, but somebody who you can call up if somebody gets hurt, and you're not afraid to just let him go after that. Or I mean, if he pitches well, then he could be somebody who's pretty decent in the pen for you. But yeah, I mean, he wasn't too bad in 2022 and 2023 for the Washington Nationals. Nice little pickup. He's not the guy he was with the Cubs, though. I'll say that. I mean, the fastball is a takedown and everything like that, but still a fun name for sure, and it'll be fun to monitor him in Salt Lake.
Jared.
I was checking to see
Sorry, Nate.
if the Angels had him at one point because he's been on so many different teams over the last, 5, 6 years. I thought for some reason they picked him up for like a couple days and then DFA'd him, but he pitched one inning with San Diego last year, so nothing. I think he was healthy. I just don't think he was very effective for San Diego. So I think the big thing with him is he going to throw strikes? Like that's always going to be the big question mark with him is does he throw strikes because he does walk a lot of guys. So um, at least when he's bad, it's because he walks guys. When he's good, it's because he's throwing strikes. So another guy that throws decently firm with some movement. So interesting. Nothing to write home about, but interesting.
All right. JD Thomas. Sorry, JD. I am off my game tonight, guys. You know what it is? It's the curse of the Sunday podcast. Because this podcast is actually being recorded because the Sunday podcast started with JD Davis. And the news was that JD Davis is not going to make the roster, just as we were having a discussion about JD Davis making the roster. So here we are. JD Davis, per Joel Sherman, is not set to make the opening day roster. Nate, I'm starting with you. What are your thoughts that the veteran doesn't make the team?
It's a little concerning for a couple reasons. One, this feels like a very Angels move when it comes to the injuries. And Rangifo's banged up. I know he's played a little bit the last couple of weeks. And we know Moncada's banged up. He was in a cast, he was in a cast, not a cast, but he was in like a soft cast yesterday. So I just hope that they aren't gonna try and be like, oh, let's hope this guy is good enough, and we're gonna put him on the roster, and if he can play, he's gonna play. If not, we'll give him 2 or 3 days, and then we'll put him on the IL, and we'll retroactivate it for 2 or 3 days, and hope that he's back in a week or two. So that does feel like a very Angels move. Tim Anderson's probably going to start second base. Newman's probably going to start shortstop. If Rengifo's healthy, then I guess you don't really need JD Davis because you're gonna have Rengifo starting at third. You'll have Moncada behind him as like the utility infielder who could play second, third. Um, and it sounds like Neto is progressing way faster than they thought he would. He's not going to be ready for opening day. We know that, but it sounds like he's got a shot to be ready sooner rather than later, maybe a couple weeks into the season, which might even change some things around where it's like, you know what? Like we don't need to make another 40-man move for JD Davis for 8 days or 10 days. We're gonna just give him we'll just roll with what we got for 8 to 10 days and then Neto will be back and you know, we'll have Neto at shortstop and Newman will be that guy. So, but that is a very Angels way of doing things. And then, we look up and there's been a setback to Neto and there's been a setback to Moncada and Rengifo hurts himself again. And it's like, oh man, we have nobody. And JD Davis opts out because somebody else is willing to put him on the major league roster. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, that's the only concern for me is that the Angels are just going to put a couple guys on the roster who might not be 100% healthy and 100% ready.
Jared.
Who are you blaming, Nate, there with that comment?
I'm not blaming anyone. I'm
Players,
just
because
saying
you said it was Super Angels. I want to know who you blaming.
they've done it ever. I'll say this: ever since Perry has been
So it's
on,
Perry.
ever since Perry has been here, Perry has done that every single year, every single year. But I wasn't blaming Perry. I'm just saying that just feels like something they've been doing the last couple of years, where it's like, you know what? Let's let him try and tough it out. 2 or 3 days go by, he doesn't play. They put him on the IL, and they probably played 15, 20 games with less than the 26 actually active last year, would be my guess, which is not acceptable. You should never be playing with, you know, one, two, three, one or two guys less than the active roster. Obviously, pitchers are different. If a guy has thrown too many pitches and he's not available that day, that's different. But if you have a position player that's not available because he's hurt and he's still on the active roster, like that just feels like what the Angels have been doing.
All right. Just wanted to see your answer there. For me, yeah, I mean Newman, the infield should go Newman, Shonawell, Renifo, Mancada, Anderson. I'm interested in who this last player is going to be because it's probably not Kyron Paris. We already Sherman already came out with it, and I don't know how accurate this is, but JD Davis probably not making the team. David Mershon is a legitimate question mark there. On that side, I really don't know. He might get added to the 40 man there. Christian Moore doesn't sound like it. My pick, and I know I said this on the podcast that we recorded on Sunday, they didn't go out, but my pick's still Matthew Lugo. I know you're riding out there with 6 outfielders then at that point, but I mean he can play a little bit of infield for sure there. Plus Solaire's a DH only guy anyways, so you're really rolling with a 5 outfield set there if you bring Lugo in. I'm intrigued in if Matthew Lugo makes this team or not. I really am. That could be the case, especially now that it sounds like JD Davis isn't going to make it. I think it's down to Mershon, Lugo, and Ryan Noda. Those would be my guesses there. And Noda being a left-handed bat makes a lot of sense as well because they don't have a whole lot of left-handed bats. Power bats, should I say?
And by the way, for the sake of consistency, because I want to stay consistent, Jay Davis not making the team for me. I want to see the young guys play. So he's to me, eventually he's in the way for somebody making the roster. So he's gonna make the team, and that's what I want to see the whole time. Anyways, I'm willing to see development or try to see development. That's what I want to see. So it doesn't bother me at all. All right, moving on. There's the big part of the conversation. Here comes after this commercial break, or in other words, a word from our sponsors. All right. The news is, guys, Reed Detmers is not starting five. He's not going to be in the initial rotation. Jack Kohanowitz is going to be in the rotation. Shocker. Shocker. So because I'm going to sit back and enjoy the Nate rant on this, I first want to get Jared's point of view. Jared, all three of us were caught off guard by this. Make it make sense.
Um, I think it makes a lot of sense when you look at the stuff wise, right? Like you you don't want somebody like Jack Hanowitz necessarily coming out of the bullpen. Not doesn't have huge swing and miss stuff, a lot of pitch to contact guys, a lot of pitch to contact type of pitches in that note. I know he throws 98 plus miles an hour, but um I would have rather have seen Reed Detmers in the rotation. However, a change of pace can always be a good thing. I'll say that, especially for someone like Reed Detmers, who we have a lot of confidence in. I think that he has a chance to be in the rotation long term for the Angels. So this could be a very good thing. And I mean, knowing what the Angels have done, I mean, and Nate's rant about injuries, he could be in the rotation. I mean, in a week from now, for all we know. I mean, we don't know how Kyle Hendricks is going to pitch. Uh, there's just a lot of question marks with the rotation. There's one big question mark. I wouldn't say there's a lot of question marks, but there's one big question mark, and that's Kyle Hendricks. And how many starts are you going to give him if he does not look very good this year? I hope he looks good. I really do, because then I think if Kyle Hendricks looks good, the Angels are playing some decent baseball. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I think Reed Detmers fits in the bullpen nicely as someone who can miss bats, somebody who he can go and throw 95 to 98 miles an hour in the bullpen. I know we don't see that, but he definitely has 95 to 98 miles in his back pocket that he can go throw and get outs with late in the game. And I think that at back of the bullpen of Ryan Zefferson, Ben Joyce, and Kenley Jansen are accompanied nice with Reed Detmers, who can throw multiple innings for you as well. So from an Angels winning standpoint, it's a good problem to have. From a development standpoint, it's interesting. I'm hoping that a change of pace for Reed Detmers does him good, and it's better than sending him down to AAA, because I don't think that does him any good. Nate, take it away. Rand.
It doesn't do him any good sending him down to AAA. I am going to just poke the bear because that's fun for me. So it's not good to have a non-strikeout guy in the pen. Where's Ian Anderson going to be?
In the bullpen.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So another guy that's a strike thrower that doesn't strike out a lot of guys with a lot of
But
contact.
you're hopefully not putting Ian Anderson in a 5-4 game in the bottom of the ninth inning.
You're probably not putting Detmers in that situation either. You're probably putting.
You'd like to hope not, but Detmers is definitely ahead of that list than Ian Anderson is.
But if you just said you'd like to hope not, then like that puts Detmers down the list. Like the role that Detmers is going to be playing is long relief, multi-inning reliever type of thing where it's like, hey, somebody sucked, you're in, you're going to go 3 or 4, keep us in the game. Or, hey, somebody was good enough to get us through 4, couldn't really get us through 5. You're in the game, get us 5, 6, maybe 7 if you're really feeling good and the pitch count's good. I don't see him pitching at the back end of games to go get a lefty, a left, right, left out, or a right, left, right out type of thing. Even though he could do that, it just doesn't seem like the spot to put him. He's never pitched out of the bullpen, and you're gonna put him in a spot like that just doesn't make sense. So I just I go back to the Kyle Hendricks signing. Like you've already brought up, will he last? If that's the question with your first free agent signing, like that's the first question you have is how long will this guy last? Why did you sign him? Right? Like if you are worried about will he last all the way to, August or July, then it's like you obviously didn't sign him to be a part of the major league roster. Um, so
I have
that's
that question. I don't know if the Angels front office does, but I have that question.
you're not the only person that has that question is my point. I think there are
I
a
also
lot of
didn't
people
sign
out
him.
there that have that question of how long. Kyle Hendricks says look great in spring. Yeah, it's been awesome. But he also we'll see what it looks like when we get into the regular season. He could easily just get killed this first 2 outings and we're going, "Man, why the heck is this guy in the rotation?" So, um
I mean, I'm asking that question now, to be honest
yeah.
with you.
So, uh and then my second thing, I don't understand how you can come to the conclusion that Jack Kahanowitz outpitched Reed Detmers this spring. Like that's what it was, right? Um if it was a true competition, a true hey, whoever wins then he gets the job. Then why are we going based off last year? Why are we going based off, oh hey, he was really good for us last year. Like last year's over and done with. Detmers was good for a stretch too last year. So if it was really about like, hey, pitch the best in spring training, and it was pretty close. Like Detmer's way more strikeouts. Okay, Hanowitz had, you know, very, very little strikeouts, which not a huge deal, but it's still nice to have a guy who can get some swing and misses. He threw more innings. He had a lower ERA. He had a lower WHIP. I just don't understand how we're going to sit here and be like, oh, hey, Jack way outpitched Reed Detmers. And I know Reed had one really bad outing against the Dodgers early on, and the Dodgers were obviously probably at least 2 weeks ahead of everyone else just because um, they had to play a couple weeks ago in a game that counted. So that's kind of a tough start in your first. I think that was his first outing. It might have been his second outing, but your first or second outing is against a team that's been playing for 2 more weeks than you, and they're getting ready to go play in Japan. So I don't know. I just think that it never really was an open competition like they said. I think that they had Jack Hanowitz's name written in pen before spring training happened, and the only way that they were gonna scratch that off is if Jack had a 9 or 10 ERA and Detmers had an ERA under 2. So it just feels like they didn't really take Detmers seriously, and that's gonna go to my next point of like if you didn't have Detmers ever in this rotation, why didn't you at least think about trading him? Why? All Jared tells me is how much starting pitching depth we have, right? Like all I hear from him is we have so much starting pitching depth. Well, then why not move him? He would be a good commodity for other teams. He's a young, controllable arm, and I guarantee you, there's one or two teams out there that's like, you know what, we can make this guy a superstar. The Angels haven't been able to figure this out. Watch us. We'll change this one thing, and all of a sudden the guy will be lights out. So, and I don't think that teams are going to sit here and lowball you because it's a young, controllable arm. Like teams still like young, controllable pitching, whether it's or not. Like young, controllable starters are very, very hard to come by, especially guys that have the track record of Detmers for being a very good pitcher for a couple months. It's like, hey, if you can turn those couple months into a full season, he's an all-star. So I don't know. I think that this is another another bad thing for Detmers. This is probably Detmers has had a very tough Perry regime, is what I would say.
What if I play devil's advocate a little bit?
Go ahead.
And honestly, I don't know. Thought just kind of came to me because we don't know a whole lot. And the reason we don't know a whole lot is because this Angels team is just they're not transparent. They don't talk a whole lot. We've mentioned that before. What if the thinking is we need to have somebody long relief that we can trust to carry us, and a guy who can get strikeouts, so a guy who can come in there and do that. And what if the actual belief is right now Reed Detmers better fits that for them? What if it's more about trusting him to be able to come into that situation or not? And because if it's between me and Reed Detmers, we know what Reed Detmers is capable of. We've seen those flashes over the years, and we haven't quite seen those flashes. What? Let's put him here. Let's see how this works. Other thing too is I'm willing to bet right now. I mean, and you can accuse me of being negative about this, being a negative Nate about this all you want, but I saw Kyle Hendricks, pitch last year. He hasn't been good for a couple of years now. I'm willing to bet Reed Detmers is back in the rotation by the middle of May, no matter what. So I'm just that's part two. What I'm trying to say is like either way, I think he's back in rotation soon. But what if he's just there because he's a more trusted arm? Things are down 5-0 in the third inning. Can you trust? Who would you rather trust to hold that down for you, give you a shot to be in the game? Reed Detmers or Jackie Handelman?
Well, to answer that question, my next question would be if you are that concerned with your bullpen, then what did you do this offseason?
Well, we're talking about long relief here. What did you do for long relief? You went and
Nothing.
you got a bunch of 1, 2 inning guys. Well, there's your answer. This isn't about well, you went and did other
But you
things. What if
had the
they
whole
felt
offseason to fix that, did you not?
what if that is the fix, or what if it was Kohanowitz, or they felt one of those two would be the fix, and they said, okay, you know what, we trust Reed Detmers more. What if that's what they're thinking right now? Doesn't mean to me you don't waste a first round pick who's showing you flashes for that role, but what if it's a needed role right now?
Then I would say that is a failure of the organization to get players to be in that spot, which I know is not fair, but like if you're really concerned about who is going to keep you in a ball game when you're down 5-0, then obviously you didn't do a good enough job in the offseason.
Jared, your thoughts?
I'm looking forward to 2026 when Reed Detmers is in the rotation. I mean, I this was going to be my thought this entire this entire season is, I mean, like how do you develop into 2020? You, early on you have to show that you want to compete, you want to win. That's where the Angels are going to be until I don't know till what would we say, May, June. That's where they're going to be, is they're going to want to compete, they're going to want to stay in the AL West, and they may very well do so if everything goes right. I mean, we don't know. That's the cool thing about baseball, is that teams can play very, very well, teams can play very, very bad. You certainly can't win a division in uh, April and May, but you certainly can lose it. And if the Angels lose it, then I expect them to start pushing up a lot of their young talent to see what they have in 2026. If somehow, by some miracle, the Angels hang around that 500 mark heading into July and August, then I expect them to go out and try to win with whatever they have. Whether that is Kyle Hendricks pitching like a Cy Young, or whether that is, Kyle Hendricks pitching like a number five. Like, I think that, and let me rephrase that because that kind of came out a little bit weird. If the Angels are competing and Kyle Hendricks is not pitching well, they'll go and get another piece to figure it out with him. But I mean, if he's pitching well, then it is what it is. Again, my stance for 2025 will remain the same. And we'll talk about it on Wednesday, and I will be completely blunt honest, because I don't care about 2025. Like, if they play well, that's awesome. If they play bad, that is it is what it is. The Angels have the number 10 overall pick in the 2026 MLB draft, regardless of how bad they are. I mean, they can definitely get higher than that, but it is what it is. So I want to know, at the end of the day, where the Angels stand in 2026 and beyond. Is Perry the right guy? Is Ron Washington the right guy? Can this team that Perry's built be built even further to be a competitive team? And making signings like Kyle Hendricks and those types of signings aren't doing it, and it's happened in the past, and it is what it is. But that's going to be my stance this entire year. I mean, we're gonna do a podcast after every series recapping it, and I'll probably say the exact same thing. I mean, they lost a series, that it is what it is. But these young guys are developing well, or these young guys aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. So yeah, at the end of the day, like, we can argue about Kyle Hendricks pitching into May or pitching well, or this off season all we want, but I mean, it doesn't matter, because they didn't get anybody that helps them beyond 2026 besides Yusei Kikuchi and maybe another guy or two that Travis d'Arnaud's on the roster in 2026. But I mean, that's what I care about, is winning in 2026 and beyond, because the team they're putting on the field this year probably isn't a playoff competitive team, realistically. No matter what anybody has said, whether it's Perry or Artie or Ron Washington, like, they're going to say that this team should go out and compete, and they can say that all they want, because that's their job. This is their team. Every player wants to go out and win, and they could surprise a lot of teams, a lot of people. They really could. But at the end of the day, what do the Angels have in 2026 and beyond? That's what I care about.
At least three guys are on the roster in 2026 that they got this offseason, by the way.
I've missed who's the other guy that I missed?
Soler,
Solaire. There you go. He's in 2026. Darno's 2026, and
Kikuchi.
Gucci's 2027. So yeah.
All right, folks. You've heard our thoughts. Send us yours, either on X at Talking Halos or talkinghalos@gmail.com. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear you. Follow Jared on X at Jared_Tims. Follow Nate at NateGreen34. Follow me at DC Paula. Follow us at Talking Halos. In the meantime, up next on deck, our predictions podcast. Have a great one.